Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome back to Fueling Your Legacy. We did take a little break over Christmas. I wanted to make sure that everybody had time to enjoy and really just enjoy their family, as I also wanted to enjoy my family. But we're back. It is now the day after Christmas Eve. The day after Christmas. Some would call it Boxing Day. And we are excited to be speaking about what we learned over Christmas, some of the experiences we had, and what brought us the greatest joy. What was our favorite presents? And what legacy did we attempt to build or bring to pass and start, and depending on where your family's at, this Christmas. So for me, I've always loved Christmas. I've had a few experiences as a little kid that made Christmas really special. Our family, we didn't really have a lot as children growing up. As a family, I'm the seventh of 11, as I've mentioned many times before. And as a result of that, there was a lot of charity. People would give us gifts, and we don't know who they always were. But there's one Christmas that sticks out in my mind in particular. I don't think I'll ever forget it. And we all grew up listening to stories about Santa Claus and hearing about him, hearing what he drives, how he gets around, when he comes, things like that. Well, when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, our family, we were all sitting in our house one Christmas Eve. And somehow, we heard a knock on the door, and in walks Santa Claus with big bags, big cloth bags of presents, and they delivered tons of presents for us. But once we thought we were all done, then they invited us to walk outside on our front yard, smack dab in the middle of our front yard, was a giant 12-passenger van that had enough car seats in it for each of the children that were in car seats at that time, myself being one of them. To this day, I have no idea how they managed to get this van onto the center of our yard, big bow on it, without us hearing it, because it's not a quiet van. But was even cooler than that was Santa Claus. After we were done, Santa Claus got in a sleigh and drove away on a sleigh. I don't know if they were reindeer or donkeys or horses or what was pulling the sleigh, but there was definitely a sleigh. And from that time on, I've just always kind of had a deep love for the event of Christmas and what it means from the giving perspective. I know what it meant for me to receive gifts, and I was grateful for those. And as I believe my whole family was grateful for them. But I always have wanted to be able to be that Santa Claus, be able to be the person who goes and changes somebody's life completely. And that kind of, as I got older, that kind of got lost in the commercialism of Christmas. It's getting, I feel like, shorter and shorter. I think this year I was in Costco and Walmart and some of these other places, and they had Christmas stuff out even before Halloween. They started putting Christmas stuff out. That's 3 months early. They're doing their best to capitalize on this Christmas season. And although I think, why not, from a business perspective, that's smart, I do have some sort of reverence or respect for the actual holiday of Christmas and what it means, and not just from a religious perspective, being the observed date of Christ's birth, but also from just a humanities perspective. What things can we gain and enjoy from having and building camaraderie between family members, friends, having those experiences? And so that's what I gained a lot out of it as I got older, was as it got more commercialized, I've turned to what things were not going to go away. And for me, that's family. I think that family is the number one reason that I love Christmas as much as I do. In our family, we always had breakfast casserole on Christmas morning. We also would play games, all different types of games. And then we had one game in particular that we would unwrap a set of boxes. They were wrapped, small box, and then like 13 different boxes wrapped and wrapped and wrapped. And we'd go around a circle, and we'd have to roll a 6 on the dice. And if we got a 6, then we got to put on the oven mitts, and we had to try and unwrap this present. And whoever got down to the smallest box and got it open, they got the prize in there. And then we all had animal crackers and oranges. after that. And that, I don't know if that was our whole life or if that started a little bit later, but it's something that's very exciting. And I love being with my family and having those experiences, even though I'm not very good at rolling sixes on the dice. So I never won, but it's still a lot of fun to be there. I've been married 3 years now, and my wife's family, they seem to gather on Christmas Eve together at mom and dad's house and sing Christmas carols, things like, and play games. And then on Christmas, we all gather again there. We have Christmas dinner, which is generally a less extravagant dinner, not like Thanksgiving, but just a little simpler. And then we have a family gift exchange, which is always exciting. And then the mom and dad get to give the grandkids their gifts as well. But just an exciting time to be there with your family and to have that camaraderie. And it took on a new meaning for me. My son is actually a year and a half, a little over a year and a half now. And this is the first Christmas that I was able to kind of put on a spectacle or present something for him and watch him really enjoy it. He was only 8 months old when we had our first Christmas together. So this one was just a little bit more exciting because he's finally old enough to understand and play with his toys. And even though he's been sick over the last week or so, he's had a bad cold, it seemed like he was just magically healed, at least for Christmas, and happy, healthy, giggling, laughing all day long. We went over and played with the cousins, and he was just content. And that's just such a blessing for us as a family, that we were able to have that experience of just happiness and contentment on Christmas morning and all day Christmas, actually. And then another thing that I chose to do this Christmas, and I really, really did like it, and I would strongly suggest it for, if you're not doing it on Christmas, find another time at the holidays to just reflect. And I actually took 4 days off social media, just completely turned it off and just chose to connect with myself first, and then with my wife and my kid and my other family members around me. And that was such a joyous experience to be able to take myself completely out of work, completely out of the things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and just focus on spending time with my family. It's just a great experience, and I learned a lot from it, as far as learning to connect more and recognize the smaller things and build that relationship with my son and my wife. And just as we're moving into the next year, it's a big thing to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're all working towards the same goal, and that we are one as a family. I truly believe that if everything else fails in the world, economically, socially, whatever it is, your family is the one thing that you can count on to be there. And that's the one thing we have to protect more than anything else. And so that's why I'm striving to do on a day-to-day basis. And it's something that is always trying to stay in balance. But I thought it was a good time at the end of the year now to reflect and make sure that as we're planning our 2019 goals and making sure we're moving forward there, that we can accomplish what we're trying to set out. And that helps a lot when we're all on the same page. So that was my Christmas miracles of the day and building legacy. I hope that you did something similar or unique this Christmas with your family. And my wife and I were talking about, it's like, I don't feel like we have any consistent things in our family. And she says, well, maybe, Sam, it's just that the fact that every Christmas is different is going to be our tradition, right? Because we don't have a lot of things that are there every Christmas. And I don't know if that's because I wasn't raised with any consistency or I didn't feel like I was, but I think it's important to either have consistency of some sort or to always be changing, but make sure that there's something that you are building a relationship, experiences with your family members, because I believe that those are what's going to last. So hopefully that helps for you guys to ponder and reflect on what you guys were able to experience the last few days. This Friday, we are going to have a fantastic guest on our podcast. Her name is Shay Burton. She's the author of a book called The Christmas Legacy, and strongly suggest each of you guys to go pick that up and read it. It's a beautiful story, and I'm excited to share with you her thoughts of why she wrote the book and how it's contributed to her life and her family's life, and what legacy means to her, and why she chose to release it here around Christmas time. So Have a wonderful day. Again, if you are willing to tag me on social media, then I will share on here. I want to give a shout out to Derek White. He did share our last podcast with Stephanie Iliff, and she has currently right now the most listened to podcast of mine in the history of podcasts. We're still on a run. For the 100th and 200th listener, they will receive a book from me and one from Stephanie Iliff if we get to 100 listeners and 200 listeners. But to be in the running for that, you must post on social media and tag us so that we can know who you are, because I keep a track on it every day about how many listens we have. And I'm posting on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook regularly about what number we're at. So you want to be that 100th listener. And so everybody's got to be posting so I can watch those numbers go up. And it's exciting. It's been a great year. Next year, we have some serious, awesome goals. We are going to talk about that next week, talk about goal setting and what that might mean moving forward, and how you might choose to really expand your mindset on what you believe you can achieve, and then just shoot for the stars. Even if you never hit your goals, I think it's still better to go for them. And if you shoot for the sun and miss with the moon, that's still better than shooting for a star and missing everything. So anyways, talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.